Assalamu alaikum, man. One of the brothers reminded me before we log completely off that I was saying something about look, I even wrote it right here. About the importance of when the night journey was and things like that to show that this was in Mecca. So what I forgot to finish and saying about it was, alhamdulillah, man, I'm glad the brother reminded me. So the second hadith, you notice in the hadith, it said that the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was late for Fajr. Right? So that means that hadith happened before this. Because Salat didn't even come down until the night journey. And then the fact that it said he came out means it lets you know this was in Medina. Because the masjid was attached to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's home. To get in the masjid, he just had a curtain. So when he come out of his room and come through the house, he walked through the curtain and he's in the Prophet's masjid. The same way it is today. That's why where his body that's where his bedroom was. So you know what I'm saying? And so like the people, I ain't gonna go into that. But anyway, where his body is now, that's where his bedroom was. That was his house. So this lets you know this happened in Medina. So we mentioned that and show the importance of that because you have to know how to look at timelines. That's why they break your surahs down in Meccan surahs and surahs that's Madani, that was revealed in Medina. Because the deen changed. Because they was under oppression in Mecca. And then things changed when they went to Medina. So different rulings changed and different things was going on. So what went on in Medina, whatever year this was, right? Whatever year this was when this particular hadith happened, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam could have been in a different position with Allah Azza wa Jal, that Allah Azza wa Jal did this for him. It could have been in the 20th year of Deen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I'm saying. So when you look at the context and then you can see the differences and the arguing and this and that, these was two different timelines. One was in Mecca, one was in Medina. Some time had passed. Even if it was fresh into Medina, you could say at least 2 years had passed. So I forgot to add that part, and that's why I wanted to keep that in there to show when you looking at things and you looking for context and where it was, to look at the situation and you trying to look at it all of that stuff is important because now we could break that down. Okay. This was about the night journey. We know when the night journey happened. So this was in Mecca. We look at this hadith and we can see they was definitely in Salat. They was definitely praying Fajr. So that means this time when he seen Allah Azza wa Jal, however it was that he saw him, was after this. The original argument over if he seen him during the night journey. Because Salat came down during the night journey, and he was praying, leading them in prayer. He was late for the prayer. And he came out to come lead them from where he was coming from, which we know with the hadiths that say that, because they didn't have a masjid in Mecca. The Prophet masjid was built in Medina. So we know he's coming out of his house to pray. So that established all that was way after that. So you have to look at everything and look at the context. So I had to hop back on it and finish that little point off, which I had forgot to mention. trying to get off, man, by 2:30, man, for Ak, man, so he could do what he had to do. So, alhamdulillah, man, hopefully, man, this stuff benefiting and everybody absorb everything all in one. Because it ain't like this is a class and we got like a week, 2 weeks to spread all this information out. I'm trying to cram it into short videos. You know what I'm saying? So alhamdulillah, man. So to teach you how to do the research, how to look at the context, how to look at what everything that was said. And like with me, if I'm able, I like to look at what the people said that was closest to that time. And I like to go to the actual books. And I try my best not to do, well, I don't do it. I don't do the copy paste, this scholar, this, because sometimes people don't know the context and it could be flipped around. I mean, I will look at it to see what they say. If it's something that's like I don't have the books to get to it and something going on where I can't call somebody who like overseas because of our time difference. You know what I'm saying? It may be 1 or 2 a.m. where they at and 5 where I'm at. I might do a quick Google search on something, like if I'm out and about, and then if it reference a book, I'll screenshot it and then I'll come home and look at the whole chapters and the whole sections on it. But if I'm out and about and I have to do something quick, or depending on who I'm talking to, I'll look at a few things and see what's to it. But I like to look at what they were saying at that time and give you more of the context. So like even like people who familiar with this and know, like when they try to use that hadith, that athar, well, Aisha said this, that. Now that y'all know the context of it, you will look at it different when you hear it, especially for the reason of why they trying to use it. If they trying to use it to prove that Allah can't see, if they trying to use it to prove that the Rasul never seen Allah, the things that they try to use it as proof for. But now you know the context, and then you know more hadith, and like I said, that's one athar, and then I read 3 versions of the hadith, right? By 2 who was actually there. Qatada, he narrated it from Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas was there. And Mu'adh ibn Jabal, he was there. And he noted in the hadith, they was told to stay in their rows. Everybody in the masjid heard it. A masjid full of people heard him say that. So the ijma is there. So when you see the back and forth, the different, to keep it 100 with you, they really talking about 2 different situations. Because I also showed that Abu Hurairah, Ibn Abbas, and Ibn Maqsood, a show where at least Abu Hurairah and Ibn Maqsood said they agreed that the Rasul didn't see Allah Azza wa Jal during the night journey. But then it turns and says they agreed that he did see him off the narration from Ibn Abbas. And these people, Abu Hurairah and Ibn Maqsood, it's an extreme, Abu Hurairah and Ibn Maqsood, it's a very strong possibility that they was in that masjid praying. They were some of the top guys. This was Fajr. You know Abu Bakr was there. You know Umar was there. You know Uthman was there. You know Ali was there. And I can go on and on. You know Bilal was there. Bilal was the one who called the adhan. So Bilal heard it. It was in the masjid. Right after Fajr Salah. So, and you know, they was real big on not missing Fajr. You know? So anyway, I just wanted to add that little point to add to the context and to show when it's a situation like this, how you can separate the situations. Look at the timelines. You know, was this before the night journey? So when you chronologically, it adds up. Because the night journey was what? The first time he went like that. So if he would have said this was before the night journey, then we could have been like, wait a minute, something a little iffy, because the night journey was the first time, and this, that, and the third. So it adds up, and it makes sense, and it's extremely sound, and there's ijma on it. So, you know, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.